Hi, it's me, your void. Um, I'm new to this whole YouTube thing, so let's see where this is going. My name's Jona. I'm from Germany. I'm new to this whole YouTube shtick thingy, but I thought I'd try my hands at it. Research, scientific research, of course, only scientific research, has told me that people start their booktube channels with something called the Newbie Booktube Tag. So that's what we're gonna do today. I believe I have it right here in front of me. I taped the questions to my tripod. I'm so professional. So it's 11 questions, and I decided we will go through this and see where this is going. Do I have a script for it? Kinda. I mean, I took some notes on it, but I'm notoriously good at rambling, so who knows? Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? Because I like books, and I don't have a lot of people in my life who like books as much as I do. Don't get me wrong, and if you are my friend in IRL, please don't kill me for saying that you don't like books. I know you like books. It's just that I'm the one who's usually talking about books, and you listen to me ramble about books. So there's that. I read a lot of books, and I don't have a lot of people in my life that read the same things as I do, or read it in a timely manner so I can rant about it. I usually talk at people about books, not with people about books. So there's that. Yeah, and I've been on Booktube as a ghost in the background for forever. And this year I finally decided to do this whole thing. Question number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to YouTube? I don't know. I mean, I could go on this whole shtick of like it's an oversaturated market and nothing is original anymore, but that would be very depressing. And instead you get a whole lot of this absolute fucking chaos. Probably also a lot of cursing. I love cursing. The YouTube algorithm can go fuck itself thoroughly. I don't give a shit. So if you expect anything resembling, I don't know, a schedule, a system, structure, sorry mate, hardly know her, no idea what I'm doing here. I'm just freeballing that shit. So yeah, chaos, that's what I bring to YouTube. Question number 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I wouldn't turn down making new friends. Pretty please. This is me trying to make new friends. I have literally no idea. Again, I'm just freeballing this shit, but I'm kind of excited to do things. I don't know. Emotional support coffee. Question number 4. Why do you love reading? I don't know if you've been around the last couple of years, but reality sucks hard. Why not indulge in a bit of escapism? You know? Why not read about other people solving problems with dragons biting their heads off instead of witnessing the heat death of the universe unfold right in front of you in real time? We're all going to die. I love reading because reality has always sucked, and I've never been really good with real life. I like to try my hands at fake life. I mean, I've always been a very imaginary person. Yes, I am an imaginary person. I don't exist. I'm only a figment of your mind. I've always been a person with a very vivid imagination, and I've always loved storytelling in one way or another. And books is just a natural progression of that, I guess. There are a lot of visuals going on in my noggin. I literally see a blockbuster movie if I read a good book. It's just natural progression at this point. I also love to tell stories. I'm a very enthusiastic player of tabletop RPGs. And yes, I did ye old dabble in writing a book. My friends can attest to the fact that apparently I write the hottest NPCs known to mankind. I don't know. It all started, like, as a kid, I was watching so much TV to an unhealthy degree. And then cartoons became shows. Cartoons actually became movies. Then movies didn't do it for me anymore. Then it became shows. And then the shows didn't do it for me anymore. And books is where we're at now. Maybe one day I go into mind hacking. Question number 5. What book or series got you into reading? Funny story! Twilight. Yeah, Twilight was the whole catalyst for this madness that is me, that is my bookshelves. We have some weird holidays here in Germany, and it was a school trip. We were going to see a movie. We had a choice of 2 movies, both bad. We had Twilight on the one hand, and we had, I believe it was Inkheart on the other end. And just so you know, Inkheart never got a second movie. That being said, we went there and a buddy of mine said he'd seen Inkheart before. Inkheart is a stupid movie, don't go and watch it. But like a week prior, my mom came home from watching Twilight and she's like, oh yeah, it's a nice movie, but it's not really your kind of movie. Like, it's very romance, it's not a lot of action, yada yada yada. So I was like, okay, I have the choice between a boring movie and a shitty movie. But I trusted my friend more than I trusted my mother, which says a lot, honestly. So I went and saw Twilight, and I kid you not, it was an enlightening experience. 14-year-old me, I believe I was 14, I don't know. Ye old puberty me came home and literally screamed at the mother, how could you lie to me? This movie is the greatest thing I've ever witnessed. And she, being an avid reader, unlike myself at the time, was like, well, do you want to read the book? And I was like, fuck yeah! Now listen, up until this point, I hated the written word. I have never touched a book in my whole life up until that point. When we had to read books for school, I always scooted by letting other people tell me what's happening in the book. I never actually read it myself. I mean, yeah, I had bedtime stories, but as soon as my mother said, you are old enough now to read yourself, I was like, nah. Started watching videos instead. Yeah, so me saying yes without hesitation to reading the Twilight book. That's what started me reading. Read it in a week, handed it back to my mother, and was like, I need more of that shit. Everything spiraled out from there. Now, looking back, it's a very funny story to tell. I was very ashamed of it for many years. Like, at one point I had 192 posters of that shit up in my room. There was not a single inch of my walls not covered in Twilight posters. I had all the teeny magazines, I did all the tests, I was Team Edward all the way. Actually, no, my daddy issues came through back then. I was Team Carlisle. Yeah, so that's how my reading journey started with Twilight. I also distinctly remember my mother saying, well, you started at a very high level of reading. There is not a lot of stories that good. Moving on, question number 6. What question would you ask your favorite booktubers? You wanna be my friend? Pretty please? I always wonder, like, if you make content off of something like reading books, is reading books still fun? Like, doesn't it feel like a chore, given that it is basically part of what you have to do in order to do the thing that you want to do / need to do, depending on if you're doing this whole shtick for a living? How much does your content making influence your reading habits? Asking for a friend. Question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Real talk, I hate my own voice, so editing is going to be fun. Listening to yourself over and 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 over. I'm also quite the perfectionist, and I have a lot of trouble settling for good enough. I don't like doing that. Question number 8. When did you start reading? Well, if you've listened to question number 6, sorry, I believe I was like 14 years old or anything or something. I would need to look up the exact date when Twilight was out and about, but I am too lazy to do that, so we settle for 14. Question number 9. Where do you read? You don't see that right now. Right behind my camera, like right there is my couch slash bed. It is currently filled with all my plushies, which there are way too many of. I'm touch starved. Don't at me. But yeah, usually I sit over there and read. There is nice blinding sunlight once the sun is coming over. That's kind of nice. Or I do something I lovingly refer to as desk yoga, where I sit in the most uncomfortable looking posture. Posture, is that right? I sit in a way that looks more like a Cirque du Soleil act than actual sitting, and I just sit there and read my book with a stupid video in the background probably about serial killers, like long video essays. That's kind of my jam. Most of the time I need some background noise that I can thoroughly ignore to concentrate on the story. I don't read in cars, because if I read for approximately 30 seconds, I will give you my last dinner, lunch, and breakfast back. It's not a great experience for anyone, so if you see me reading in a car, run. Question number 10. What kind of books do you read? I like to stick to my good old fantasy. I dabble in sci-fi every now and then. I'm just now beginning to get into sci-fi, which is hilarious. Like, I as a kid, and I still do, quite enjoy like sci-fi shows like Star Trek, Stargate, oh my god, the Andromeda. We're not talking about Kevin. But yeah, I was a huge sci-fi fan as a kid, with all the weird sci-fi shows back in the 2005 to 2010 era. But I don't read a lot of sci-fi. I would like to read a lot more sci-fi, but again, I don't have too many sci-fi books. But yeah, I mostly read 50 Shades of Fantasy. I have graduated from YA a couple of years ago, and I'm now reading my good old high fantasy and smutty fantasy romance. Give me them monsters. I'm all yours. And I'm not ashamed to admit that, because humans suck. Or don't suck, depending on where I come from. Anyways, moving on. Question number 11, last one. What does your book collection look like? I mean, you can't see it, but it's like, it's 2 shelves full of books. Up there is like a bunch of mangas and comics. There are 2 more Billy bookshelves like this outside in the hallway. They are also filled to the brim with books. And we have a couple more in the living room. I don't think there is a room in this apartment that doesn't have at least 1 book in it. There are a lot of books. And yeah, that's my book collection. I believe that's it. I can see that that's it. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know what kind of videos I'm going to do. I'm probably going to do a bunch of more tags, because they are easy to do, because you get like handed a script, you just have to fill in the blanks. So yeah, that's me. Your void. Bye.